So I've been keeping a little secret from all of you guys. This is something that I've been working on for a while now. Actually, back in September, Rhonda Fowler, the mind behind bringing this conference to life, reached out to me through my Facebook page and decided to extend an opportunity to help her with this conference on its very first year. And guys, I was really skeptical, but I know it was a God thing, because I was invited to speak at a different conference and couldn't get the money for the airfare. Things just were not lining up right. And then after I'd given my very sorrowful thank you, but no thank yous, then not 2 days later did Rhonda pop up in my inbox. So I know it was a God thing. Y'all know what I'm talking about. One of those things that it happens, and it happens so perfectly without really being prompted or without anybody else really knowing the desires of your heart. And then things just kind of pop up and happen. It's a God thing. In my book, that is a God thing. And this was a God thing. Hey guys, welcome back to Mulberry Branch Farm. And today we are at the first annual Indiana Homesteading Conference here at the Hamilton County 4-H Fairgrounds in Noblesville, Indiana. We've got a lot going on. There's going to be a lot of knowledge sharing happening here. There's going to be lots of people, lots of fun, lots of experiences, and yours truly helped organize it. Hi, Mighty. We have already had an escapee, and there she goes. Get down. Ha ha ha! We found out how you got down. Leave it to a goat to complicate the conference. Rhonda dreamed up this conference, shared her dream with me, and in 2 months, this is what we came up with. We came up with a conference based out of the Hamilton County 4-H Fairgrounds in Noblesville, Indiana. It took place on the last Saturday of October, and we had a variety, like 30 plus subjects that were spoken on. We had over 20 different speakers. They went all day long. It was an amazing day. We had lots of vendors, but the most important thing is that we had homesteaders. We had all kinds of homesteaders from within the state of Indiana. And it was amazing, because even though Indiana is not a big state, it definitely is broken up into specific regions. And to have all of these people in one place at one time, learning and sharing and fellowshipping with one another, was something to behold. And usually I wasn't able to participate in the way that I did this time. This time I was an organizer and I was a speaker. So I got to experience a conference from the complete opposite spectrum, which is usually I'm there to learn. I'm there in the classes, fellowshipping, not so much bringing it together and nurturing and nourishing and encouraging growth. When Rhonda and I first started planning this, we figured we'd only have like 200 people come, tops. Like, we would be lucky to get that amount of people. And within the first 24 hours of opening up registrations and not really pushing this on social media very much, we were well past the 200 mark. Now, take it as it is, it was a free event. So there's no skin in the game, which we learned a lot from that too, that we were offering for homesteaders, because we wanted to promote accessibility on the first year event for new homesteaders that they wanted to get together and they wanted to learn. So we had to shut down registrations, y'all. It was crazy. We had to shut it down and find a new venue within like 4 or 5 weeks of this thing happening, which was very hard to do. But there were just so many things that happened that I don't know how you explain without divine intervention over top of those things. For me, at least, it was like one of those, like, okay, there's no way this is all lining up and happening the way that it was. So for me, another God thing, I guess. But we're able to open up registrations, and it grew so fast that we decided we're going to cut off registration at 1,000, because we don't know how many people with the funds that we have available, because this was all sponsor paid, guys. None of this was paid for by us. Now, I was a sponsor at a very low level, but most of the funds came from us digging up sponsors at the end of a fiscal year within 8 weeks. to pull it together to make sure that we didn't have to pay out of pocket for this venue and all the things that we were able to offer our attendees, our speakers, and our vendors. And cut it off at 1,000. So, and by all the numbers that we could possibly glean, because there were some flaws there for check-ins and registrations, we figured there were over 600 people. We only allowed 1,000. We only allowed 1,000 registrants to enter, because 1,000 is a huge number for someone who has never put together an event. I don't even like when there's more than like 10 people at my house, guys. This was my first time really speaking to a live audience about keeping goats. And the title of my talks was Goats for Beginners, GOAT of the homestead, the greatest of all time, because I'm your resident goat lady. You can't tell me that goats aren't great on every homestead. But I got to experience for the first time what it's like speaking to a live audience, because I speak so much to you guys through my camera. So it's really different to get body language and facial expressions to kind of feel what my audience actually feels about what I'm saying. And that was really different, but I loved it. I'm gonna tell you guys a short story about a little kid named Ray that was on my farm. What was that, April? Ray wanted to come to the farm with his mom and his brother and his dad. And Ray wanted to see the baby goats. And he said, "Do you bottle feed these like babies?" I'm like, "Well, we got a couple we do." He's like, "I want to feed them with a bottle." Ray had never been around goats. Ray did not know how food-driven goats could be, especially even the small, cute ones. He walked out very bold, that bottle in his hand, said, "Where are the baby goats?" Baby goats enter, ensue. Ray gone. Ray's gone. Ray is running. "It's gonna eat me!" Even though it felt like it was never going to happen, the conference did slow down. The conference came, it went, and here we are, back to our normal everyday life with the goats. It feels a little bit weird though, because I went from jam-packed days for like 2 months straight of doing nothing but planning and calling and trying to pull all these strings together and tie them all up into one big braid to make this thing happen. And it did happen. And I can honestly say that I have a little bit of a new perspective when it comes to events like that. Just because you go to an event and you partake in an event and you can see all the wrongs from the outside where they maybe fell short, it is totally different trying to set up all of these different dominoes and hoping that you set them all up right so that when you give the first one a push, everything just kind of falls in line behind it. And there's always going to be that one-off situation where it doesn't matter how much you planned, things just happen. And I found that as an organizer and as a new leader within the Indiana Homesteading Conference, that it called on me in different ways. And it was really interesting to experience that and to feel that growth and that evolution inside and in your mind, at how you looked at things and how you took things. My skin is a lot thicker now after the conference. There are a lot of things that I plan to help implement to change next year, along with Rhonda. We've already had our first little sit down afterwards, and we got a lot of ideas for next year. There's a lot of hands on deck waiting to be told, what can we do to help? But with that, there also comes knowing how to hand things off, and if those people are the right people to hand that specific job off to. Because, you know, Amy Fuel of Fuel Homestead had a post this week about leadership. And I read the whole post because I really look up to Amy Fuel. She's the one who organized and the founder of the Homesteaders of America Conference. And a lot of things that she said in her post after going through this conference and going through both a spiritual, mental, and emotional evolution and change, being as involved as I was, I really read it with like a different set of eyes. And I really appreciated that, because she talked a lot about servanthood and being able to hand things off and recognizing the talents that are around you, so that when you do hand them off, that you pick someone who's better than you at that specific thing, so that you know they'll succeed. But if then it doesn't succeed, even though you handed it off, you're just as much to blame for the failure of that as the person you handed it off to. So I am trying to take in this post, and I'm going to try to make sure that I put it into practice for next year, because y'all, it's going to be amazing. I wish I had more time to film, but that's also something you sacrifice as one of the organizers and the problem fixers, so to say, at this conference. Is my feet hurt. It's a thankless job. It's a lot of servanthood to a lot of people that have all come together with the same idea to make something wonderful happen. And I feel like something wonderful did happen, and I feel like it's going to keep happening for years to come. And I'm really happy to be on the ground floor of that. You know, like there's something really special about looking around at people learning and taking another step into their journey, because you've set up an avenue for them to do that. You've set up a space where they can all come together, open-minded, freely, and just learn and soak in experiences and the lessons that are being taught. Maybe not even from the speakers, maybe just from somebody that they met from their own county. So it was a really an amazing experience, and I cannot wait for next year. So guys, if you didn't get to go this year and you are, who's your homesteader? In my comments below, I want to know, what's your homestead name? Where are you from? What county are you in? What region are you in? And I would love to make sure that we all hook up at next year's Indiana Homesteading Conference. And you know the drill. We hope that you are all staying safe out there and being kind to one another. We will catch you on the next one. God bless you. Bye, y'all.